Yeah, it was a great win last week for our Shell Pennzoil Dodge, and to be able to bring it home at a road course was even that much sweeter. So neat stuff all the way around with winning. It helps us with padding or creating that insurance policy, so to speak, for making the chase this year. To get a win, of course, over the years and keep adding to that was great. But just the overall team, from the team perspective, to win, it's just great to be able to know that we're doing the right things on the race car to make it fast, and to be able to execute with a perfect plan last week. I guess the only two cars to do the two-stop strategy were the Penske cars. So it was awesome that we had that fuel mileage and the speed to be able to carry through to do that. So coming into the Coke Zero 400, you know, it's a great sponsor of ours with Coca-Cola on the team, and we want to try to get another check mark, so to speak, off the list, which is to win a restrictor plate points-paying race. So we've got the same car we ran here at Daytona in February. It was a top 5 finishing car. We had a great speed weeks, and not much has changed for the rules package or throughout the garage area as far as the competition side. So we're hoping that we have that strong car like we did back here in February, and put our Dodge up front and to see what we can do in that two-car draft to bring it on home first this time around.
Sounds good. We'll go straight to questions. I saw Willie in the back, so let's go him, then we'll work our way back up to the front. Go ahead, Willie.
Kevin, you had, I guess, the good sense to be out in front of much of that stuff that was going on behind you last week at Sears Point. A lot of that happens with one driver taking it on himself to sort of police things. Your views on that, and your views on how much of that, is there any carryover from a road course race to a super speedway restrictor plate race when it comes to ill will and ill feelings?
Yeah, I get Kyle a lot, but I haven't gotten Kevin much. It's Kurt. That's all right. That's all right. I look like Kevin. I knew we'd do that. And no, you know, road course racing, it gets tougher every year at Sonoma. Watkins Glen, we see the packs seem to give a little bit more of a appreciation to one another on double file restarts and not roughing each other up. Seems like at Sonoma every year it just gets rougher and tougher each time. But, you know, to be up front and to stay out of the mayhem, that was a goal of ours. You know, I learned that over the years, that I can be running 4th or 5th, and you're in a vulnerable spot for somebody to take a shot at you. And does it carry over to the next week? It's always there. Drivers never forget. It seems like each year that you go to those restrictor plate races, that you have your friends that you're going to draft with, and then you have those guys that you've had some run-ins with that you don't necessarily want to draft with. But what ends up happening with this two-car draft scenario is wherever you come out off of pit road after a pit stop is, and if you haven't teamed up with somebody, you might end up drafting with somebody that might be on that list of guys you don't like, but you got to do the best you can to win. And you got to put your differences aside for the short term.
We'll go George Pockers and then come up front and get Lee. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, Kurt back here, George Diaz with the Orlando Sentinel. Where exactly do you stand on this new drafting style? Do you like it? Don't like it? Somewhere in the middle?
It's necessary right now. To win, you've got to have speed in that two-car draft. Anytime that you can tell a driver he's going to be 4 seconds faster a lap and he's got a shot at winning, then he needs to do that. And so that's what everybody's doing, is this two-car draft. And so I'm for it. It's what it takes to win right now. And as this track gets older, as Talladega gets older, and maybe as we see rule changes come about, we won't see the two-car draft as prominent. But right now it is. It's what it takes to win.
Bob.
Bob Hocker, SingDaily.com. In the celebration last week in Victory Lane, we saw a woman that we hadn't seen with you before. Can you tell us who Patricia Driscoll is, and if anything in your personal life, do you feel has it affected any of your performance this year?
Well, there's been a lot going on behind the scenes, and obviously when you win, people want to take you down, and that's happened this week. You know, I've got some notes and things that I've put together, and all I really want to say about that is, you know, while drivers sometimes have a beef with certain media members or different ones of the print or broadcast media, you know, things are reported, general speaking, and the vast majority of our journalists are hardworking, responsible individuals who, like us, are trying to do their jobs the best way that they can. And I appreciate that. I also appreciate the fact that until now the media has been extremely professional in respecting the privacy of my personal situation with Eva and I. And although that those in the NASCAR community have been aware for some time now about that we are no longer together and that we are legally separated, you know, while we go through this process, it's been tough, you know, and the upcoming weeks we'll work at formally terminating our marriage. But, you know, we do so with the most respect for one another, and we'll always be friends. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any other questions about the racing side of it. It's just the personal side is just that. You know, there's things going on the personal level. There's things personally within the team that's been well documented, you know, but like I say, performance on track is always the best antidote for putting all of that aside. You know, it's I think the way that we've handled the situation of this sport, we're really good at respecting one another, and I'm happy that I'm an athlete in a sport that really cares about writing about our sport versus writing about our personal lives. You know, the other sports get into the professionals' lives in a very personal way, and I'm glad that I'm in the NASCAR world to work with you guys and to respect that as well. I mean, it's tough. I mean, we're an entity, but I'm also a person.